Hey guys, welcome back. It is Thursday, which means it's my favorite day of the week because I get to hang out with you guys here in our EverBee community. But today I'm even more excited because I get to hang out with one of my closest friends in the industry, and just like an absolute just shining light in our industry, who really just focuses on you guys 24/7. And I'm super excited to have a conversation about Q4, about kind of where his company is going. And when I say his company, I mean this one. So I'd like to welcome to the stage today with me as well, Mr. Cody McGuffie. Hello.
Hey, Leslie. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
How's everyone doing?
I hope well. It's kind of it's crazy. Like the fact that we are, this is 9/25, so it's September 25th, and we are literally 5 days away from Q4 technically starting.
Insane.
So it's just insane. It's literally insane. Like to think about like where EverBee has come in itself just over the first 9 months of this year is wild, first of all. And then being able to see all of the like case studies and all of the successes internally with all of our people as well, whether they're on Etsy, whether they're like myself and they sell like services, just being able to see all of those things like in the Facebook group has just been such an overwhelmingly incredible experience this year. So I kind of want to really think about, we are heading into the busiest selling season of the year. And the good news is if you have a good product, if you have a captivated niche, you technically probably should have been selling all year long, but now it's really like the biggest time of the year for e-com. So I really want to kind of focus on that and what our, community can be doing and what your opinion is just in general. For the e-com space for 2025 Q4 this year. But before we dive into that, guys, I also want to kind of get some audience communication going, some interaction. If there's anything that you want us to answer, whether it be on this live or a future live, if there's anything you want Cody to kind of get on for you, just let us know. Drop it in the live stream chat. This is exactly what it's for. If you're watching this on a replay, you can obviously drop it in the comments below as well. And then I also really want to know from each of you guys, if you're open to sharing, what type of shop are you running this Q4? Is it handmade? Is it digital products? Is it service-based like myself? Is it print on demand? I would just love to know what that looks like, just so we, at EverBee can have just a better understanding of how we can serve you. So if you don't mind just dropping that in there, just one little thing like handmade POD, just as fast as you can, just so we have a really good understanding of where you guys are at and where we can meet you. So with that said, Cody, my question for you, we had some conversations with George a couple weeks ago. I went live a couple weeks ago as well to talk about some changes that took place on Etsy this year, that they didn't really tell anybody about. It's really just a bunch of testing that's kind of happening on the back end. My assumption, and this is what I've seen time and time again, over and over again every year, is they are getting ready for Q4 just like we are. So they're testing a bunch of things to make sure that their platform is as efficient and streamlined and customer friendly as possible. And then we're kind of doing the exact same thing. So my question for you, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here, but as it relates to Q4, as an e-com business owner, a huge, multi-million-dollar brand owner that you are yourself, what things do you, as the big brand, so let's think that you're Etsy right now and you're making all of these changes. What's the reason? And how can our sellers use that knowledge and that context to their advantage?
Why the question is, why is Etsy what are they thinking basically? Where's their head at?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm Etsy, I'm thinking similar to you as a business owner yourself. You're simply thinking about, hey, how do I make sure that we get our customers, get our shoppers, the products that they are looking for in front of them, and the ones that they're most likely to convert on and the most likely to be satisfied with, to be happy with, right? That means obviously product quality. That obviously means like delivery times, lack of or no refund, like less
Right.
refund rates. These are the
Good
things
customer
that
service, success score, that kind of stuff.
exactly. It's no different from Q1 to Q2 to Q3 to Q4 from this. It's just more. It's just amplified.
So
It's
true.
like it's times 10.
Mhm.
And as a business owner, or let's say if I'm Etsy, I'm just thinking of, cool, let's just make sure that we're just doing the right things and these things scale.
Mhm.
So I don't think if I'm Etsy, I'm changing a whole lot at moving into Q3 and Q4. I know they made some changes recently, but they're not they're not massive
Oh, for
changes
sure.
where they're going to disrupt,
Yeah.
anything too much. It's mostly just tweaks that they
Mhm.
probably had on the roadmap for the entire year,
Totally.
and they happen to re-released. So yeah, and as a small business owner, as a creator, as somebody that is, maybe this is their first Q4,
Mhm.
or maybe it's your 10th. This is the biggest time of the year for
Mhm.
e-commerce. This is where all the shopping happens. The majority of the shopping happens. It is a really fun time when you execute it really well. It's a fun time, even if you don't execute it really well. Maybe you're just like, you don't know how to, execute anything. It's still fun because you get to see a whole bunch of people succeed,
Mhm.
which is
Yeah.
really fun because then you get more motivated about
Mhm.
just e-commerce just in general.
Mhm.
So yeah, I don't know if I answered your questions. What do you
No, that's
think?
good.
What would
That's
you
perfect.
do as Etsy? Like, what's your mindset? Curious about
Yeah,
yours.
so it's funny you say that, because what I teach, like my students, completely unrelated to EverBee, but also teaching the community in here, is all year long, not just right now, but all year long, we should be focusing on three things: visibility, conversion, and fulfillment. And of course, you want to like take care of your people in there, but it needs to happen. It's basically those three things are the most important. And if you can get the right visibility, whether it be with the new people through SEO, through adhering to any of these algorithm changes, whatever ad strategy, whatever it may be. And then visibility could also be the secondary piece. And probably the most important one is the person who has purchased from you in the past, easiest customer to get again.
Mm,
So if you can get visible in front of them, that's what leads to that conversion, right? And then when we have the conversion, that's not the end of it. It's got to be a good experience for them last. So this is something that like I've been teaching for a while, is like the visibility, conversion, fulfillment, like 3-part system should happen all day, every day.
love that.
But in Q4, like you said, it's just elevated. It's just a little bit more, like, I don't want to say pressured per se, but it's a compressed time, So it's like, it's not this whole 12-month season that you have. It's really the biggest sales peaks are usually going to take place from like October 20th through November 20th. And then we're going to have those stragglers, of course, that are going to be like myself. I'm not going to lie, I'm a straggler that I'll like wait until like December 20th to purchase a gift sometimes, especially if it's on Amazon Prime. It's super easy to flip it fast. But we're going to have stragglers like myself who are going to wait until the last minute. But the bulk majority is going to be in that like 20 to 30 day window. So knowing that, what can our people do? Knowing it's the 25th now, we basically have less than a month to get to that point. So we obviously have EverBee Store. I want to talk about that in a second, but let's just talk e-com in general. When you think about those three things that I've been teaching
Mm,
on for a while: visibility, conversion, fulfillment, are you open to like, let's maybe get off script a little bit and dive into each of them individually?
sure. Let's go.
So visibility, I talked about two different people that they could potentially be hitting, but what's your opinion or your feedback on the ways to get the utmost visibility in e-com in general, not just Etsy, not just EverBee Store, whatever, but what's the like number 1, 2, or 3 thing that they can do to really bang out visibility, being the first one, the first and probably most important one?
Yeah, and just to make sure I'm using it on the same terms as you. Visibility meaning like across all e-commerce, it's like making sure that you have traffic or some sort.
Yep,
People are
you're being
seeing your
seen. Yep.
product or you or something.
Yep.
Cool. But yeah, first checklist is like make sure that your site is live. Make sure that you like the things just work properly, right? Make sure your checkout flow works properly. If it's your own EverBee store, make sure that thing's working nicely, and make sure you've kind of like set up your payments and all that stuff. Like cool house cleaning stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you're on Etsy, make sure that your products are just make sure the main images are clean. Make sure like just the basic stuff, like this looks presentable to a shopper, first of all, because if it's not presentable to you or to a human, then Etsy's not going to push it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's like the basic stuff, of course, like table stakes.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next thing is like make a list of your assets that you have of your business, and then figure out which ones you can leverage. The biggest asset that I'm talking about here is probably your email list.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an email list, this is the time to press on it. Like it is the coolest thing when you can send out an email and create revenue, especially around Q3, Q4, because everyone wants that email from you. All the shoppers that previously bought from you in the past or signed up for your newsletter or something like this, they want to hear from brands. Like they want to hear those deals, and there's no shortage. Like they're not like, oh, stop emailing me, Leslie. Like,
Yeah.
that's not how it works.
If they like the brand, 100%.
Totally. And even if they don't even know about your brand or don't like your brand, well, then they're going to unsubscribe anyway, and you don't want them on your list anyway.
Agreed.
And then even if they're like, Leslie, email me again. Cool. That's literally your job, is to like make sure that you are present in their mind. That is the whole point of email marketing. They can unsubscribe if they want. Very likely they're not going to, because they're getting crushed by everyone else's emails also. So leverage those assets. That's my biggest thing. And then if you're running ads, let's say on Etsy, for example, then certainly don't stop running ads. Like, don't like think that just a whole bunch of surge in traffic is going to come to the Etsy platform.
Right.
And so you're like, okay, I'm going to shut off my ads. I feel like I hear this sometimes, and it's like, no, you don't have to necessarily increase your budget, but like, don't change anything just because it's Q4. Like, don't remove things, because reality is other people are going to be cranking up their ad spend also at this time, and so you're going to be competing more too. So those are some of the things off the top of my head. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I was like, while you were talking, I was writing a couple down just because I want to make sure I don't forget them. The first thing that like immediately kind of dinged in my head when you were talking in the very beginning is also thinking about, like, you kind of mentioned that, you know, like, we are humans, like, how would we respond to them? We really, really need, I think that's probably the easiest asset that you can leverage is, how would you view this? If it's not good enough for you to want to click through, if it's not good enough for you to want to click add to cart, if it's not good enough for you to want to save the Instagram post to use later or come back to, whatever it is, then it's not going to be for everybody else as well. And some people get tripped up on that they're like, oh, well, like, I'm not my niche. And that's fine, because I think, thank God I am. It's a little bit easier to talk to someone when you are that person, you know, 2 or 3 years ago. But there are millions of sellers that literally would never buy their own products, but they know their customer like the back of their hand. So they know exactly how that customer would respond to something. So I think that's what's really important, is really just getting in their minds as much as you possibly can, and not just listing a bunch of stuff arbitrarily because it's Q4. The same way that you said, don't remove a bunch of stuff just because it's Q4. I'm saying the exact same thing, you know, adversely, that don't just like surge a bunch of, I hate to say it, but like crappy quality just because you want the quantity. So I think that's what's really important, is like, how would you interact with, let's just, you know, we'll use Etsy for an example. If you go to an Etsy search, type in whatever you want. So let's just say like Halloween shirts or whatever. And all these, you know, millions and millions of different listings come up. One pops up for you. The price is sexy. The design is emotionally appealing. It has its comfort colors. Maybe it's something that's like you're attracted to, you've worn in the past, you like the quality of it, whatever. Then you click into it. And there's also a video, and it's of this mom wearing the shirt and trick-or-treating with her kid. And then you're like, oh, well, that's kind of cute. That's what I'm going to do this year. And then you scroll through the photos, and it's super explicative. It's super like you don't have any questions when you go through the photos of what you're going to get. And then you go to the description, and the description's like, are you a mom that's super excited about trick-or-treating this year with your kid? I literally love this season with my kid every year. So I wanted to make something that I would personally wear too. Like, you're just emotionally resonating with that person, that buyer, or that seller, that item itself. So how do we make our stuff like that? You know, so if you don't feel that yours are doing that, whether it's Etsy, whether it's Instagram content, whether it's, again, you know, an EverBee Store listing and product page, if you don't feel like you are connecting with that person, potentially because you don't know that person 100%, which I highly, highly recommend. Like, if you do nothing over the next 20 days, figure out who that person is and how they need to be spoken to, what verbiage they need to hear from you. Like, even as small as like, if you ever go to my website, my EverBee Store page, for example, you can tell I know my person, because the very top of my website literally says, build a business that loves you back, boo. So like, I'm talking to my girls, I'm talking to that person. And if someone does not, like, I don't know if you necessarily resonate with that, Cody, but like, if Cody goes to my store, he's probably like, clicking off of here and going somewhere else. But maybe
actually, no, it's interesting. It's funny. It's when I go to your site, I would say, oh, cool. She obviously targets a specific type of woman.
Yes.
And that's her ICP. And the cool thing, ideal customer profile. But the cool thing is that just because it speaks to that specific person doesn't mean that it won't speak to me. And that's where people get confused, because people think that if you just like build your business, right? Then you're kind of speaking to everybody, and then it kind of waters it down. But actually, even though I'm not your ICP, it still speaks to me in a way, though. It's interesting how that works. I can't even explain it personally. I'm sure some psychologists could, but
right. Well, what's even cooler than that, I think, is, and this is something that I hope people will be like excited about, is you have a wife, you have a sister, you have sister-in-laws, whatever it is. You have a bunch of people in this industry that you're friends with. So you probably know at least 5 people that could resonate with that message very, very well. You know what I mean? So I think that's something interesting too, is maybe you have a very particular audience, or maybe you have a more generalized audience, which is also totally fine. I know we have a lot of general store Etsy sellers in this community. But how can you speak to one person in a way that still allows being able to speak to multiple people? So that actually moves me to my next point that I wanted to hit on, that I heard you kind of mention, and I wanted to grow a little bit, is what can we be doing verbiage wise, imagery wise, video wise, content wise, email copy wise, whatever, that is focusing on the giftable space this season. So there's going to be, instead of like t-shirt for woman, everybody's freaking doing that, and it is super oversaturated. But how can we switch that to maybe be, I'm just making this up as I go, but vintage washed tee for sister-in-law. And that is 2 actually niches gone very more granular. So it's the t-shirt went to vintage wash, which is super freaking trending right now. I couldn't get away from it the other day when I was in Disney. They've never had this ever. So I know for a fact, if you guys listen to nothing I say today, listen to this. Vintage wash is huge. Like that denim grunge look is huge right now, because Disney's obviously probably the biggest, if not the second biggest, in market research in the world. So the fact that they were flooded, every single section of the World of Disney store at Disney Springs it doesn't matter what character it was, what movie it was, whatever, it all had that. So completely off topic, but highly recommend checking that out. But if we know that like a t-shirt can be broken down a little bit more granularly to that, and then for woman could be broken down a little bit more granularly to the sister-in-law, if we can find ways to, I'm not saying you have to update everything by any means, but even just your shop announcement, even just the description on your, above the fold, and maybe even in your header on your product pages on EverBee Store, your email copy, again, whatever it is, that we can be intentional to focus on not only the person who's going to be receiving the gift, but the person who's going to be giving the gift this season.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, it's interesting because I've never really considered myself like somebody that watches trends when it comes to like clothing and like these washes and things like this. Actually, in fact, I'm probably below average when it comes to those things. I'm very aware. That's
something interesting to admit, being an e-com. I like it.
Yeah, well, I think mostly because I think it must be maybe it's a skill. Maybe it's a skill that you kind of have to just like, I recognize that I can get better at that. For example, I noticed like this sky blue is like heavy in right now. Obviously you're noticing this too, right?
Which is surprising to me, by the way, totally random, but it's September. Why is sky blue trending? That's technically usually May through July, May through August, April through or whatever. So yeah, it was surprising to me, but I've been seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, for me, I feel like I'm always a little bit behind. I wouldn't say like I don't pay attention to it at all. When my wife comes home and she has like she's wearing a certain color, I'm like, oh, I've never seen that color before. It's interesting. Yeah. And then pretty soon, like we're walking around, I'm like, oh shit, she's got the same color. That girl has the same color too. Oh, interesting. This is like a trend. Totally a trend. But this is kind of a new skill, if I'm honest. I would always default to data first before like actually being out in the wild. So that's probably why I don't have this like skill in the wild to pick this stuff up. I've always just like looked at like, okay, EverBee research, got it. That is obviously trending. This sky blue crop top is obviously changing. Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
Because you see the numbers that are physically telling you so. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. But there's something validating and like intuitive when you see it like in the real world, like when you're at Disney and you actually see this stuff, you're like, oh wow, I actually saw this and I'm extra seeing it now. That means online it's definitely happening, and I can capitalize on it. It's a valuable skill, and that's the cool thing about e-commerce is just you can like leverage all these different skills and talents and kind of mash them up. And eventually they all kind of compound to help you with your store, which I think is really important.
I love that you are calling it a skill, because it 100% is. It's something that I've had to like take notice of and build and grow over time. It's also funny that you said in the wild, because that's obviously what the name of our series is. It's called Trends in the Wild, because that's exactly what it is to me. Is like, I'm walking around Michael's, and I just did this the other day. Me and my husband were looking for like a little spooky craft to do while we watched a horror movie. And because it's spooky season is September 1st, in my opinion. So we walked around, and I just saw a bunch of like Christmas stuff that was, or just the holiday season in general, that was really focused on like candy. And I just thought that was interesting, because I did that myself last year, but I saw it everywhere this year in Michael's. So we actually have a quick little announcement for everyone watching today. We have our Q4 Trends in the Wilds actually going live next Tuesday. I believe it's next Tuesday, whatever October 1st is. So like, no, October 8th. I'm sorry. So the following Tuesday. So in 2 weeks, we have our Trends in the Wild Q4 going live. We originally did this quarterly for the first two, but everyone loved it so much. And they were like, we would rather see stuff a little bit more like prominently. So like, can we see it a couple times? So what we've decided to do here at EverBee is you guys are going to get a Trends in the Wild every 6 weeks instead of 12 weeks. So you just had one for Q4 a couple weeks ago. Now we have our next one going live October 8th. So something I usually do on these lives or on our videos is, if that's something that you are wanting to be personally tagged in when it goes live, do me a favor, not in the live chat because I won't be able to see it afterwards, but if you can put a comment below this video and just write trends, just so I can see your YouTube name and the trends comment there. I will personally on October 8th go back through all of those and let you know when it's live, and go ahead and give you the link, because I'm going to do it for you. You're welcome. But it also is, like Cody said, I want you guys to also get in the skill, and I want you to build the skill. And I have a quick little story or analogy here. Is I teach a lot of my students to be creators as well. So the same way that I'm a creator full time, I teach a lot of other students how to do it. And in the beginning, they're like, how do you find trends? And I'm like, they're literally everywhere. It's right in front of you all the time. So what I always say is consume to create. And that's like in the creator space, but we can also do it totally in the e-com space. Go on TikTok, go on Pinterest, type in whatever your niche is or whatever your product is, even if you're looking to get out of a certain niche and get into others. 2025. So like t-shirt 2025, cross stitching 2025, crochet 2025, whatever it is, type it into those platforms. They are literally search algorithms, even though they are also content and entertainment algorithms. It's such a good place for searching. So if you don't feel like going into the wild physically, you can go into the wild on these platforms. And then I can almost bet my bottom dollar that if you find 10 things on TikTok and Pinterest and they're showing on both of them, they are going to be on Etsy within less than 30 days from then. So if you guys can get in front of that, and then you can find ways to maybe add that to your EverBee store because it fits the niche that you already decided to go with. It's a skill. Like I said, it's very much so a skill. But when you start doing it, you're going to actually, I hate to say this, but you might hate shopping from now on because you're going to see it so often. It is a physical reaction that really does happen, but it's also a muscle that needs to be exerted. Like you need to actually be physically like walk into Michael's, walk into Kohl's, walk into, a higher end. Maybe there's like other places. I don't have any higher end places in Lansing, but maybe it's like a nice, department store that you go into, Macy's, whatever it is. And don't go in there passively. Go in there actively. And what I do personally, just so you guys know the kind of, I guess, like step-by-step directions, is I'll go into a section. So let's say it's the junior section, it's the men's section, whatever it is. And then I will literally just scan and I will take note of things that I'm seeing a couple of. So something I did in Target a couple of, Trends in the Wild ago was I saw big like Hawaiian flowers, Hawaiian like palm fronds, whatever patterns in the men's section. And I saw it like 3 or 4 different times. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna write that down. I saw it on swim trunks. I saw it on t-shirts. I saw it on a crew neck, whatever it was, button downs, wrote it down in my brain box. And then I went to the decor, saw that stuff again.
Mm.
I'm like, okay, we might be onto something. Went into interior, so like home and design, like where they have, like your bathroom, whatever essentials. Saw it a couple more times. So it's really just going section by section and then just taking stock of anything that you happen to see section by section. And if you can do the final part of being able to duplicate those patterns that you saw in one store to another store, you've got something that's winning. And if you can do something that is going to be in the wild physically, before it hits TikTok, and then of course before it hits Etsy, you're going to be like 3 months ahead if you can go to like craft stores or Target, Disney, of course, like any of those kinds of things, because these companies have literally probably in the billions of dollars just for market research. So why not just use that? Like someone else is doing it for you. You just got to walk around and find it.
What's interesting too is I actually I pay attention to. I have 3 kids, right? So, and my kids are going to school now. So I have a 6-year-old who is in 1st grade, right? And so when he comes home asking for something specific, like some sort of clothes or some sort of like socks even, or like he wants to wear like certain things in a certain way, I'm like, oh, interesting. That means like, because we're all being influenced by our environment, right? So he's literally being influenced by other kids his age, and those kids his age are probably have bigger brothers and sisters who are being are influencing them, and they're being influenced probably by like social media and like YouTube influencers or some sort of videos, right? And so it's like this cool thing that it is interesting. That's all I'll say. Like it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, it's just cool to see because people are, like I said, there are companies that are doing this with the utmost intention and the utmost money backing behind it. So if we can just go out there and then just kind of look around with intention as well, just makes everybody's life so much easier. And I do the exact same thing now, where my creators sometimes, the same way that I said that you guys might hate shopping, they hate watching movies now, because I tell them like, watch a movie and you'll see why these different cuts are so important. And then now, like, I literally got a message the other day that was someone's like, you have ruined cinematic adventures for me forever, because you're going into things with intention as if you are a creator, or in this case, a seller as well. So I guess my next thing that I want to talk about then is, if they're doing these, let's just say they're going out in the wild, they're finding these things, they're going on Pinterest and TikTok, they're finding these things all year long, not just for Q4, but knowing that that is coming up over the next couple of weeks. We have got, give or take, around 2 months from today, so around 60 days from today, that is going to be Thanksgiving, Black Friday, and Cyber Monday. So it's funny, obviously being here with you, Cody, today is Kate and I, who obviously works for EverBee. Kate and I have been planning Black Friday stuff for EverBee for the past 3 or 4 weeks already. So the beginning of September, the end of August. And that's what should be happening no matter what you're selling, no matter who you're selling to. So my question for you today, Cody, if you have any thoughts or feedback, is what are like the most important things that people should be focusing on as it relates to the 2 biggest sales days of the year, Black Friday and Cyber Monday, internally over the next 60 days to make those the biggest days of the year for them as well?
Yeah, and I've split my mind a little bit when I answer this question, because I'm thinking of Etsy sellers and people that only sell on Etsy, and then I think about like people have their own site, like EverBee stores.
For sure.
There's 2 different types of strategies here. On Etsy, it's like you almost want to already be planning out your specific products that you wanted to go live in before Q4. That would be ideal. Now, if you haven't done that, okay, cool. You just have to make sure that you go to EverBee Research and go to like Trends in the Wild and like go and get specific listings live that you feel like are going to hit for your specific niche in Q4. So like you need to be listing now. With that being said, if you haven't done that yet, you really just want to make sure you're maximizing, like using your assets, such as like your email list. So if you have EverBee Store, for example, you really need to be thinking about, how do I communicate my products and what my offering and my brand, and to be top of mind for my audience. And so for that being said, it's like typically the baseline stuff is you want to have an email sequence with a specific, driving to a specific offer, like some sort of like bundle or some sort of like special discount, special limited time deal for your store. Like those are just things that your shoppers are going to expect around this time. If you don't do it, they just probably won't buy from you yet. They'll probably just buy from the other person in their inbox. So those are the things that you just need to be doing right now. I'm not sure how practical that is. I want to kind of go deeper. Maybe if you can pull questions, or maybe if you have any other questions around that, like I can go more special.
Yeah. I guess the question is, so I've seen so many people, especially if we're thinking about like the Etsy space, maybe even the EverBee Store space, especially if you're brand new to building your own website, they might be still in that mindset. I'm just going to push that quick Etsy discount button to everything. And then
Totally
it's
agree
just
with
like
that.
25% off, Black Friday, whatever. And I personally, not that I don't like it, I think it's fine, but I just think it is the most passive approach to this huge opportunity. So what I do personally is there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this, of course, but in my business, we are utilizing content, obviously gearing up towards that date. We are utilizing a custom, which this is a little bit too deep in the weeds. I don't want to encourage anybody to like get lost with me here. Try to stay with me. But we actually build a full funnel for Black Friday and Cyber Monday leads, which is going to have its own welcome page, its own email sequence, its own offer during that period that, you know, we're going to have 25%, let's just say, on the whole store. But these people are going to be in the VIP space as well. So I think it's just really such an opportunity where we can have a ridiculously captive audience if you start teasing things out early enough and then like you said earlier, staying top of mind by consistently speaking about them. If you guys, this is something that like I just kind of makes me annoyed with the e-com space is a lot of people are fearful that they're talking about their stuff too much. But if you guys just go on Instagram, go on Pinterest, press refresh once, the thing that you saw a second ago will be 30, 60, maybe even 1,000 things down with one click of the refresh button.
Yeah.
So what if you only talked about it once a day? What if you only talked about it once a week, which is very normal, unfortunately, for a lot of people who might be a little bit too nervous to talk about their offer or talk about their products or whatever it is over and over and over again. That's literally what marketing is.
You kind of need
You
to
have
like,
to get it out there.
I agree. You kind of need almost, if you're not getting the, oh, dude, you just make the same videos over and over again, don't you, Leslie? You know, or you just get,
Yeah,
hey, Leslie, can you please stop emailing me so much? If you're not getting that at all, which I can almost guarantee most of people listening to this right now are not getting that, then you're probably not emailing your list enough, to be honest. You're supposed to get some of that. And that's actually very, very okay and very normal and a very good thing. That means you're probably hitting it just right. So I agree with that. I also agree with that strategy of like building a special offer for your Black Friday. I was kind of hesitant to go there depending on like just how, because that's more an advanced strategy, I would say. I want to tell everybody here that, hey, Etsy is incredible and you should be 100% leveraging gearing up for Q4. And that's amazing. The downside with this is that you're kind of like, you're playing in their playground and you can only do so much. Like we've already kind of like hit on the things like, okay, list great products that are like relevant.
Change your banner, make the banner, stuff like it.
Cool. You can't really email your list because there is no list. You can put your stuff on discounts, but like anything else is kind of like you're being handcuffed, and that's by design. That's the same thing for Amazon if you're selling Amazon. Same thing for Etsy, same thing, these marketplaces. So I would say to that person is like, not necessarily to go and like abandon Etsy. Don't do that. Etsy's an amazing channel, but think about like, you need to start building your own platform, whatever platform you use, example, EverBee Store, like, so you have these levers that you can pull. You can create a product, you can build an email list, you can build this special Black Friday offer. You can actually retarget them with on Facebook. And you can like, you can really unlock millions and millions of dollars worth of controllable revenue versus Etsy is, again, incredible. I want to stress that, but you kind of have to like, you're kind of hoping that Etsy somehow just takes your listing and you just kind of take off. And that's kind of the reality sometimes. So my advice there to summarize that is like, crush this Q4 with whatever you're already doing.
Agreed.
12 months from now, you want to have more assets and more levers that you can pull for next Q4, because Q4 can be literally life-changing for you. And I'm talking like hundreds of $1,000 days to $1 million months. That does happen very frequently. It's all the time. I see it all the time. In fact, EverBee's sellers, our community, they've just them, have generated over $3 billion in Etsy revenue, like
B.
total with a B,
Oh my
and about $1
gosh.
billion in like just in 1 year. So
That's
like
wild.
the opportunity on Etsy is wild.
Yeah.
But you kind of want to keep on leveraging, getting more and more leverage in your business. So.
Well, I mean, even just thinking about like that B, first of all, just blew my mind. And what immediately came to my mind was also how much I'm thinking about. This is going to sound so dumb, but my husband is like super into the Powerball right now because he's trying to make us like ridiculously rich with these stupid scratch offs. Right. So, and I'm just letting him have his fun with it. But we talked about it the other day. It's up to like 1 point something billion right now. And it was like how much you actually get once all of the taxes are done is like wild. It's like 250 mil, which don't get me wrong, I will happily take a 250
Really? Is it
mil.
75% tax?
It's something really, really small, not small. It's still huge, but just not what you
Relatively
signed up
speaking.
for. So what immediately came to my mind was that freaking lottery game of how many dollars did they spend in Etsy fees, Etsy listing fees, transaction fees, processing fees out of that 1 billion. So like how much did our people actually receive, on the back end? So my mind immediately goes to that too, because I'm thinking about, with EverBee Store, it cost me, first of all, cost everybody $1 just for your first month. But then it cost me $29 per month just to be on the platform. And then that's it. Like there's like a Stripe transaction fee, of course, but that's with everything. The PayPal has one, Stripe has one, whatever. I think it's maybe like 2.3% or something, but that's it. There's literally nothing else that I can think of that I have personally paid on EverBee Store outside of those two things. So then my billion, I wish it was my billion, but like the billion that you mentioned or whatever is going to be a little bit closer to that number, because it's 29 times 12 is really what you're outputting, So I just think that's really, really interesting that you said that like the 1 billion, what immediately came to my head is I wonder how much that was actually pocketed. And then if we're thinking about print on demand sellers, it's even less than that because they are receiving, pennies on the profit, depending on how much they had to output. I've seen so many times with multiple different EverBee Store conversations that I've had with people that like they thought they were making profit on the back end in their Etsy store because they were getting these really big sales volumes every single month, which was incredible. And I was so proud of them. But then whenever it comes down to brass tacks and they take all of those expenses out and all of those fees and how much it costs with Printify, Printful, whatever it may be, it was in the red. And I wonder when I heard that 1 billion, that's exactly where my mind went, is I wonder how much of that was actually pocketed by our people.
Totally. Yeah, I get that for sure. I mean, it's definitely a big part. I would say that the counter argument to that is like, okay, well, I have to like run Facebook ads and have to run like, I have to drive traffic to my own store, which is all very, very true. This kind of just comes down to, I think it's just a different layer of you as an e-commerce entrepreneur. Is like level one is probably selling on a marketplace like Etsy, Amazon, things like this. And then eventually you're going to want to have more control of your life, more control of your business. And that's when it's like, okay, I'm ready to like have my own store. And all this is just a level of, it's just another layer of skills that you need to learn, which is driving traffic, optimizing for conversions. And like, it's really not that complex. It's just another skill set you have to like put in the toolbox.
Yeah.
It does take a
not copy and paste from a marketplace straight over and just hope it does the same thing. Exactly.
Yeah. Like, but the benefits are so much, they're so powerful because now you're building an asset. Like now you're building an asset you could actually sell. Like, I mean, you could actually sell your company. That's what I mean. Like, I have many friends that actually sold their company, and that's where they make the life-changing money. The cash flow is great. The revenue is great when they're building their store. But when they sell that company for $2 million, it's like, oh, wow, like this changes my life completely. The history of like the rest of my life. And that's really when it gets powerful. I think when you think about like an Etsy store is, again, so powerful for like validating products, getting revenue, getting cash flow. But immediately a seller needs to move into this mindset of, I need more control. I'm going to keep Etsy going. And I'm also going to build more leverage into my business and my life. And that's where it's really, really important to be on your own platform.
Well, I mean, I think it's really important too, when you brought up the driving traffic. So when someone thinks about EverBee Store, thinks about even Shopify, whatever the heck they're doing, that like, why would I ever go there because I'm going to have all of these unknown numbers, because Etsy fees are very known. It's like you get 20 cents listing fee, you get 9.5% transaction and processing fees. It's very known. You're pretty much like, you can do a formula that's like, I'm going to make this many products, I'm going to list this many, I'm going to guarantee this many sales, X number of dollars comes out of it. Same thing with like a print on demand product, of course. However, what I think could be just, it's something that people are sleeping on, in my opinion, not everybody in the world, but a lot of people in our community, is the power of organic traffic done correctly. And this could be for Etsy too. Like I've seen a lot of Etsy sellers that do superbly on Instagram, complete just organic traffic. And they're first of all making a buttload of money because of that, but then they're also sending people to their Etsy, making money over there. So
I have a question for that. I have a question for that. So, because you are the person to ask about this, because this is what you do, this is what you teach, and this is not something that I've actually leveraged in my own personal life or business. When you say organic traffic, you're talking about like content creation, correct? Like, let's say that I'm a brand. Let's say that I'm a dad, and I have a dad, dad bod hats, right? That's my brand called Dad Bod.
I love that one.
Let's say I do that. Okay. So now I'm on Instagram and I'm on social and I'm creating this Dad Bod account and I'm just like making content and stuff. Right. Is there a formula for people listening to this, and even for myself too? Is there a formula to actually make this like a real thing? And what would that formula be?
Such a good question. And sometimes, like, I hate to say this, but it's so powerful and it's so applicable to everything. And if you don't use it, you're just going to get left behind. So either get on board with the concept or get left behind. It is what it is. It's Steal Like an Artist. And we do the exact same thing on Etsy too. Or like we talked about earlier, going into Target and seeing what trends are popping off and stealing like an artist. So it's the exact same concept to apply to content, utilizing places like, oh, actually, you know what? I'm going to share my screen because I think it's going to be a lot easier to show than tell. Give me 1 second to pull it up. So there's this thing, which I'm going to pull up for all of you guys, called the FB Ads Library. And it's a free tool that literally everybody can use. You don't have to have an ad account to gain access to this. Literally just do what I did. Type FB Ads Library into your URL, into Google, whatever. It's going to be this first one right here. I'm going to go ahead and share this tab instead. And this is going to be one of the easiest ways to get that Steal Like an Artist answer. All you're going to do is go to add category and just drop it down to all ads. Don't worry about anything below it. Just do all ads and then type in a brand. As you can see, I do this often because there's a lot of brands that are here. So type in a brand that matches what you're trying to sell. So just for shiggles today, because we were talking about them earlier, I'll go ahead and do Target. And this will allow you to, this little free access, I don't want to say app, but little like website, will allow you the opportunity to see every single thing from that particular company that was launched in that month for ads. So again, Target's probably a bad example because there's like a bunch of different types.
Do one for like, let's say on the dad concept, right? Just type in dad and maybe see what brands pop
let's
up.
See if there's something comes up. Oh, I love him, but we're not going to go to that one. What about?
How about dad? How about Dad Gang? I feel like I've heard of this print on demand company.
Dad Game.
Gang.
Oh, Gang.
I don't know this company, but I've seen
Proud Dad Gang. Let's try that one. Not sure if that's what it is, but nope. No, I mean it might be, but the only problem, just so you guys know, that you might run into is while you're looking for these things, the brand just might not have ads currently live. So just keep that in mind as well. But usually the bigger brands will, or if there's a brand that you find that you like. So let's just say, I'm just gonna look up something real fast. Dog collars. Let's see if that one works. Let's see dog collars here. Not the best. The thing is here we go. Hotdogcollars.com might be one. So we have some ads that are in here. It's very minimal. There's only 3 of them, but you can literally do this for hours if you want to and really, really spy on your competitors.
What do you do with this though? Like, so let's say like make it like very practical. Like, so related to the organic content that you're talking about, how would you use this? Let's say that I'm a dog collar competitor to this and I'm like, oh, I make these things too. And I want to like do organic content. What do you do? What do I do with this?
So there's two different things that we're going to do here. Let's open this up a little bit. So we're going to see, let's see if we can click on this real quick. So we're going to click see ad details, and then you're going to look at the copy they are using for the ad. And then you're also going to play the video
Dog product
itself.
must-haves.
Let's not.
Our pup is quite the fashionista. So
there we go. So we're going to see what text overlay they're using, what types of videos, clips they're putting in the background. Obviously, since this is a dog product, it's going to have the dog first. That's going to appeal to a mass generation of people. So we really just want to look at what they're doing within the video itself, how fast the clips are, again, what kind of text overlay they're using. This in particular was a voiceover example. So she was showing a lot of different clips and she was talking over the video. What is being said in the voiceover, because just so you guys know, in ads and in organic, the voiceover is also utilized for SEO. So when it gets uploaded to a platform, the platform takes the text, they take the copy, they take the captions, they take the hashtags, they take the caption on the video itself, and then they also take anything that might have been spoken word and then basically figure out where they want to send that to.
How many times should somebody be posting like something like this on organic?
Yeah, exactly. So we know by looking on, that's why I came to this one first. We know that on FB ads library, someone is putting money behind this ad. So again, thinking about the trends in the wild concept, if you use FB ads library, someone has theoretically already done the research for you. They've already found a winning copy structure. They've already found a winning video structure, or else they're a dumb, I don't want to say they're a dumb business owner, but like they're not the smartest if they're putting a bunch of money behind something that isn't proven to work yet, because that will give them a low ROAS, which for you guys record is return on ad spend. So they don't want that. They want that to be as high as physically possible. So what we do as organic creators is we go and see what people are already putting money behind and then try to reinvent with our own products. Again, if you're in the dog collar space, or if you're in the dog bowl space, the dog bandana space, this exact same concept can be applied to all of those niches as well. So that's the first one I like to show. And then of course, the other thing is just to go organic as well. So I like to look at ads first, because again, people are actively putting money behind these things. So it's proven to work in some way, shape, or form for them. But then you can also go the organic route and literally just type in the things, like I said earlier, on the explore page, the magnifying glass on TikTok, whatever you want to do, and then find, again, just like take note of what the patterns are that you're seeing across the top performing things. How are they utilizing the hook? What is the structure of the video? How short or long is the video? Is there a person in it? Is there a voiceover? Whatever. And it's the exact same concept as going section by section in Target and writing down those little like Hawaiian palm fronds that you saw in 3 different places. You're doing the exact same thing, but just scrolling through a bunch of content.
I love that. Yeah, thank you for that. I think it's helpful. I know we can go a million miles deep on that specific topic, but so when you have your own store, there's 2 things that I think we're covering right now, which is like how to drive traffic, which is one, the organic, which what Leslie, what you just mentioned. And then that's not something that I'm like, I don't have a lot of experience with that. What's really worked well for me, a lot of people I know as well, is going straight to paid media, which is meta ads. Facebook ads is like the bread and butter to start. Don't get confused with like, should I start on TikTok ads and all this stuff? Like, just Facebook is the tried and true. It's been there. You could always scale to TikTok ads in the future. But if you have a product and you have an EverBee store, for example, and you're like, okay, I want to like scale to my store, you should be thinking about meta ads first. And it's actually not very complicated anymore. There's the setup process. It can be a little daunting, but it's very simple. Like if you have a product catalog already, let's say that you focus on fishing. I'm just going to say fishing dads, let's just say. Then you already have a whole bunch of products, print on demand products, like catered towards that audience. Perfect. Niche stores crush it when it comes to like individual stores, because you can speak to like that one ICP very, very well consistently. And you simply just connect your meta ads account, your business page, and things like this. You set up your account, and because you have a whole bunch of products already, you can actually turn on catalog ads, and that way you actually don't have to create a whole bunch of content like literally creating static images, creating like videos all the time. You can actually use your products as the creative, as the actually images that push to Facebook ads. This is a cool Facebook ads feature that's fairly new, I would say. And you just like, you learn, you set up one cold, one warm, and one hot, so like retargeting the people that visited your page previously. And I know I probably said a lot there, but it's actually not very complicated. It's pretty simple once you kind of like learn it one time and you start practicing with it.
Yeah.
So two ways to grow your store.
The best part too about like the Facebook ads is, first of all, you can set up a, like what we talked about with the ads library, completely free account. So just get in and play with it. You literally do not have to launch anything until you feel comfortable. But like we always like to say too, is like, if you wait too long, you might be like losing out on potential sales. I don't want you guys to waste a bunch of money by any means, but what I like to do in FB ads or any platform for that matter is just go top down. It'll literally tell you. That's what I love about the meta ads background, is it's like, do this, then answer this question, then determine this target audience. And it just really walks you through exactly what you should be doing. Or you can obviously hire an ads manager. There's plenty of them out there. That I have an ads manager myself. I do not like touching the back end of my ads. I give it to someone who is far more skilled in it than I am. So there's so many different ways, no matter where you are, to get the utmost traffic over the next couple of weeks, months, whatever. But also what I really want to encourage you guys to, and this is something that George and I spoke about around 3 weeks ago when we were on the live together too, is kind of like what Cody just said, is like, if you're on Etsy, you probably should have already launched all the things. And if you want to launch a couple more, that's fine. But really it's about like, you should have been doing that a couple months ago. What, in my opinion, I want to get your opinion on this, Cody. I know we only have a couple more minutes. I don't want to keep people too long today. But I really want to start talking about this in September, so you guys aren't surprised whenever I start talking, or when I keep talking about it in November. In my opinion, and this is something that I was personally trained into by being in corporate. And I used to run like multi-million-dollar assets that were like apartment communities. And we always prepped our 2026 budget in September and then got it back and forth with the owners to get approval by November so that we could start getting our marketing plan ready to go for January 1st. So many people that I've noticed in this community, and just like on YouTube that I've seen too, is they focus so heavily on Q4 during Q4. And what I'm trying to get our community to do is think about Q4 and Q3, think about Q1 and Q4, and then just always be like personally 90 days ahead, because you're going to outsmart your competition who is not doing that. So what I actually really like to do is utilize that time, September 25th, where we're at now, through October 20th, to really do as much as you need to do. Create your content, schedule your content, create your copy for your ads, get those launched or at least just drafted, create your copy for your emails, get them scheduled, whatever. Do all of that over the next 20 days and then let that stuff happen for the remaining piece of the year so that you can build out an entirely just ready to go perfect plan for 2026. Cody, do you agree with that? What do you think? I mean, obviously you do this for very big scale compared to me, but like, how do you guys prepare for 2026 as EverBee?
Yeah, I love this. I think there's probably different layers of entrepreneur, right? That you kind of like, we evolve into because the business requires more from us or different things from us at different stages. Yes, ideally, you always want to be thinking 3 months in advance. But if you can't think three months in advance quite yet, you need to be thinking like 2 months in advance. And if not 2 months, then you need to be 1 month. And then if it's not one, you know what I mean? Like, so, and then eventually though, as you start to like find one thing that works, the cool thing about it is that as soon as you find one thing that works, like one product hits, like if you're doing research and you're just like, wow, I'm going to test this, I'm going to test this, I'm going to test this. And one of them takes off, your business can be changed forever. That's the beautiful thing about e-commerce. It doesn't require all 200 of your listings to take off. It requires one.
Yep.
And that's almost always how it works.
Yeah.
And they're kind of like a bunch of things kind of work, maybe working, not working. And then all of a sudden just one kind of just clicks and all of a sudden you're doing $5,000, $10,000 a month in revenue. And now you can start thinking differently about your business. Now you can think more strategically and say, okay, now in the next 3 months, I'm going to go deeper on what is already working. And I'm going to like plan out my next 3 months. So I agree with this. ideally you want to get to the point where you're thinking about the next 12 months, ideally.
True. Yeah.
And that's probably, I don't think the majority of folks listening to this are probably there yet, or even really need to do that practically.
Mhm.
But I think it's something that you should be thinking about at least some parts of the time. And how I personally do this, everyone's different. I personally do this is I typically have like a couple of nights, or I'm sorry, one night a week typically, to where I just do deep work. I'll like do things that aren't like working necessarily, like traditional, like transactional work, but I'll just like put on meditation music. I'll kind of get in that zone. I'll be working late, like coffee late. Like it'll be one of those things where it's just like, and I'll just like try to visualize the future of the business in the next, 10 years, sometimes 30 years, sometimes 100 years. And then sometimes it usually breaks down to like 1 month. Sorry, 1 year. And really what I like to do is I like to just talk about, or I like to think about, list out, what do I want to achieve? What are the outcomes that we want to achieve in those next 3 months or next 12 months? And I think this is where most people get it wrong, is that they start thinking about, what are all the things I want to do in the next 3 months? That's the wrong question to be asking. You need to ask yourself, what do you want to achieve? What is the outcome that you're trying to achieve? Okay, I want $10,000, my first $10,000. I want to make $100,000 in the bank. I want to make $1 million in revenue in the next 12 months. Perfect. Now we're talking. Now it's just a formula. You have to work backwards from that. And there's a series of actions that need to be true for that to be true. And that's what I would suggest to anyone doing this. And I've did this wrong for so many years. I see people do it wrong all the time. We're just like, okay, my goal is to be on Instagram, be on TikTok, be on Facebook. Why is that your goal? You can do that, but like, why is that a goal? No, I want to have $10,000 a month in revenue.
Well, that's the thing is, if you don't know what your real goal is, how are you going to make content? Because you don't know what you're going towards. So that makes complete sense.
And one distraction will blow you off course, and you'll just all of a sudden be blown around by the wind for the next, your whole life a lot of times.
Yeah. Amen. I know that's right. I want to actually break that down a little bit, because I think it's our community really, really likes action items. They like tangibility. Like, all the stuff that we're saying is awesome, but like, how do I do that? Right. So what I personally do, and I cannot for the life of me think of the sixth one, or the fifth one. I have 5 P's that I go by every single year to prep for my next year. And I can't think of the freaking fifth one to save my life right now. I was just writing them all down. But it's people, price, promotion, product. I'll think of the other P sooner or later. But what I basically do is like, what do I need each of these things, like you said, to look like at the end of 2026? And then let's say people, for example, is 2 different things. So it's like, how do I target the people that I want to buy, of course, but also, do I need any other hands in my business? Do I need to hire an ads manager because I really want that, like you said, $1 million year or whatever it is? So people is a little bit of both. Like, do you need anybody to help with your listings? Do you need people to help with your mock-ups, like whatever it is? People could also just be AI, by the way. That could be like softwares in itself, even though it's not a real person. Price could also just be really thinking, again, what do you want to make on a yearly or monthly basis? Because like what Cody said, I actually have this little formula. It's a little ridiculous, but it works for me personally, where I have this big goal for the number at the end of the year. And I do this every single November. So it's like the November for the following December, I need to hit this number. And like Cody said, like that's awesome. That's an awesome goal. But like, how do you get there? I take that number, and then I break it down by 12 months, or by quarters first. So I break it down by 4, and then I break that down by 12 months. And then I personally also break that down by profit. So not expenses necessarily, but what's the taxes that I'm just going to be liable for during each of those periods. So then I have these numbers on a monthly basis that I need to be striving for. So if I want 300 grand, or let's just say 250, it's easier that way. If I do 250, I have to do like 25,000, give or take, a month. And if I want to profit 250, I need to do more like $35,000 a month, because there's obviously going to be those taxes. So I just break all of those numbers down myself. And then most people stop there. But what I do is a second layer, and I think, okay, how do I actually make that $25,000 a month happen? What services? This is a little bit different for me because I do services versus products, but what services do I offer? How many hours do each of them take? which ones bring me the most joy, because I want to be doing those as much as possible. Like live streams brings me joy to hang out with you guys. So what, like, I basically give each of them a little percentage, and then I take that percentage and I pop it on that 25,000. It's very, very simple Excel or Google Sheets formula. And then it literally tells me this small little like copy and paste formula tells me exactly how many dollars I need to get in this service, exactly how many dollars I need to get in this service, whatever, to equal that 25. And I've been doing this for, this will be my 4th year redoing that structure. And I have not hit any of my goals for the past 4 years. I have exceeded by at least 20 grand every single year because of this formula. Truly, I really believe it. And I give it to everybody that I work with one-on-one, because I seriously see how easy it is to actually be able to work, because then you can take those numbers on a monthly basis now, a granular monthly per service, per product, per platform, whatever basis. And then you know exactly what to do. You know exactly what to sell. You know exactly how many emails you need to send out. You know exactly the person that you need to reach out to, because you need to sell this many dad hats. You need to sell this many mom shirts, whatever it is. So without going too deep into it, I highly, highly recommend just really thinking about that over the next couple of months, as so many people are just really focusing about Q4 during Q4. And I think what's going to set you guys apart next year is really, really thinking about Q1 through Q4 of 2026 for the latter 2 to maybe 3 months of this year. If you are someone who already does that, by the way, I would be really interested, because again, we're always trying to figure out how we can meet you where you are. Let me know if that's something that you do already by dropping it in the live chat or the comments if you're watching on replay, or if it's maybe something that Cody and I sparked something in you today that you're thinking about doing it for this year. Let us know, because I think that would be helpful for us to be able to help you over the next 3 months too.
I think the big thing that we're talking about here is just clarity and actually just obsession about your business. I think where a lot of people, they think about their business as like a side hustle, and that's fine. It could start out that way. But side hustle will pay you like a side hustle. And if you treat it like a hobby, it'll pay you like a hobby. And if you treat it like a business, it'll eventually pay you like a business. And so you can really kind of elevate yourself and look down on top of your business and like think about it from that way and get really, really clear on what you're trying to achieve with it. Usually the how usually sorts itself out. Like it'll somehow be attracted to you. Like somehow a relationship will show up with you, and like just like they're a meta ads expert for some reason.
Yes, that literally happened to me. That's identical of what happened in my situation.
It happens so often. If you're listening to this, it's happened to you many, many times. So that's why I try to encourage people to really think about what they were trying to achieve. What is the what? And then you ask yourself the next question, which is what needs to be true for that to be true? And then you have a list of things, and you're like, okay, well, what needs to be true for that to be true? And then you keep on asking what needs to be true for that to be true. It clears almost everything up to where you become bulletproof when it comes to like your strategy and your plan. And now it's just a matter of like execution and time. So yeah, I would encourage anyone to, I don't know, get clear on what you want, and usually everything else falls in place.
I also think with clarity, the backbone of the clarity, or making the clarity easier, is like you said, the how is going to work itself out. The how, like why am I getting to this thing or whatever, the thing that you just said, is that's going to make the how in the end. Like you're going to have kind of that clear answer. So the 3 things that I would highly recommend that you guys really, really focus on is the what, like Cody said, the who. So who is your person, or who do you need on your team? Knowing your person, like your ideal customer avatar, like the back of your hand is going to be the probably best thing that we could possibly give you guys tips wise, because everything makes so much more sense after that. But also probably most importantly is the why. Like when you have like a fundamental why, a foundational why that is so rooted in whatever it is, even if you're quote unquote just selling t-shirts, because I've gotten that a lot where someone's like, well, I don't know what my why is. I sell on Etsy and I sell t-shirts, right? There's gotta be
right now. Like drop it in the comments. Like, what is your why? Why did you start this e-commerce business? Like drop it in. Like I want to know too, personally. Because for me, it was like I wanted financial freedom. And why did I want financial freedom? Is because I wanted to take care of my mom. I wanted to take care of my future wife and my kids. And I wanted to like be able to live life versus like just be handcuffed by like a corporate job. I wanted to impact people. So like some of those things evolve, but like, what is your why? I'm curious. What was yours
Yeah,
like?
I would love to see that. Mine, I mean, that's the funny thing is I was just thinking about for you is like, I feel like yours might have evolved over time, like you said, where it was like, I don't want to say selfishly warrant or grounded or anything. It was more so just like, I want financial freedom. I want to help the people around me. And then it really turned into, oh, wow, I want to help the freaking world. Like, how could I help as many people as physically possible, knowing that like now my circle's taken care of?
You know what's so crazy is that if you can align the two,
Oh my God, yes.
you become unstoppable with like
100%.
mentally, because you're just like, every time I help more people, I also help myself and my circle. And it becomes so cool. So if you can align those two things, it's not a requirement for your first couple businesses. I don't think it is. But when you can align those two things and you really enjoy what you're doing, oh my gosh, you become unstoppable, because you don't, why would you stop something like that?
Right.
Why would Leslie, if she, more clients she serves, the more impact she makes, and she's making more money, why would she stop something like that? She wouldn't. And so if you're passionate about like dog owners, and like just like want to like promote more, fur babies and stuff in the world, and that makes you happy, and the more t-shirts you do that, more t-shirts you sell to do that, it also helps your family, like why would you stop doing that? And so if you can align those things,
yeah.
golden.
And also if you can ever, especially by the way, during Q4, if you can align your business and align your values and align, whatever your fundamental why is with another company's or a charity or an organization's fundamental why, that is super, super big in Q4 as well. Like I personally try to align myself with like Black Friday. Let's go back to that. That's a perfect example. I'll do there's this thing that I usually do depending on the day of when Black Friday is, like if it's the 25th, if it's the 26th, whatever, I will do this kind of weird thing that it's like $26 for this product when it's usually 50, something like that. But what I also do on the back end of that is give $26 away to the charity of their choosing. So it's kind of like Tom's shoes, if you guys have ever seen that. So that's also something, I didn't even think about telling you guys this, but that's something I do every year. And it could 100% set you apart, especially if you're an Etsy store in an oversaturated market. That could be one thing that sets you so ridiculously apart from your competitors who are not doing that. It's not only that you have a sentimental, emotionally appealing product, whatever, but you're also helping others in the process while also helping that person that purchased. I've seen that, especially with Tom's, that's a really good example. Like I've seen businesses blow up because they were helping others. And that was just like the foundation of their business model. So it might be something to add into like your descriptions and your Etsy listings, your banner or your hero image on EverBee Store. Make it unique, make it authentic. Don't just say you're going to do something, obviously, but like something that really, really makes sense with your passions, something you want to be aligned next to. I do it every year and it makes me feel really good, first of all. So it's just like what Cody said, why would you stop? But it also makes the other person feel good as well that they're giving back to.
100%. I agree with this.
Sweet. Well, we have already kept these beautiful people here for an hour and 7 minutes, but I could literally, we said this last time, I could talk to you for hours because we just banter so well. And I just love like absorbing everything from your brain. But I do want to allow the people to get off at a reasonable hour as well. So my only last thing for you, Cody, is there anything that anyone needs to know about EverBee? We've been talking a lot about Q4 for our people. Is there anything people need to know about EverBee for our Q4? Is there anything that they should be like on the horizon they should be aware of, or any maybe new features like we talked about, like the trends, research on EverBee research being updated this past couple of months? Is there anything that they need to be knowing or be in the know for, or maybe just follow along with our journey and we'll announce stuff, of course. But what do you have anything like close?
I do. Yeah, thanks for asking that. There's a couple things that come to my mind. Is one, we're always shipping new features. Like again, for anyone that doesn't know, like EverBee is a team of 45 full-time employees. 90% of us are engineering, so we're a tech company through and through. Like that is our job, is to continue to develop software and like make it creators' lives easier to power their online businesses. That's our mission. And then, so always expect like constant updates from us, like pretty much on a weekly or bi-week, two week basis, probably. And we constantly are pushing our updates or sharing our updates onto our Facebook group. So if you're not a member, you probably are a member of that if you're watching this. So keep an eye out for just like feature updates, feature drops there. It's constantly happening. That's never going to stop. It's not like we're eventually done with EverBee. It's not never
Right.
like that. It's impossible. So there's that. EverBee Research got a big upgrade to, especially for the folks on the business plan. Like you can now really dive in deep to seasonal trends and stuff, which is really, really powerful. I don't think it's for necessarily every single person. You probably don't need all that, but if you're the data nerd that wants to dive into the history of a listing and really kind of map out where that certain listing takes off at what time of the year, this is big time for seasonality for them. So you'll find that on the business plan. We call that daily trends is kind of like the graph that we call that. I think that's really, really powerful. And that's more for the sophisticated seller, I would say, though. Not everybody needs that.
Right.
And then something that's coming soon that everyone should keep an eye out for is our Black Friday offer. Black Friday, like I'm not huge. I've never been a huge big person on like discounting products and stuff, like discounting our stuff, but it's been asked by the community many times, like, hey, are you guys running like a Black Friday special and things like this? So we did it last year and it was really, really well received by everyone. And it was really fun to do. I also got a lot of gratification from it. So keep an eye out for that. Leslie, you're working closely with Kate and all of our team on that. And so that's a whole team effort to kind of like give someone just like a really, really great, cool package shop offer. I'll say that wherever you are, if you're already a paying customer, this is going to be like an addition to like, it's going to be like an extra benefit to what you already have. And if you're not a customer, then that's great too. You can take advantage of the deal too. So I think we're creating it to be, it's going to be a really good win-win for anyone in our community, which is awesome. And then EverBee Store for folks on there, gosh, it's so exciting. We're constantly powering new things. But we just released a deep integration with Facebook ads. So if you're running Facebook ads or you want to run Facebook ads, it's big time. We have an integration, conversions API integration to where it literally gives that's exactly what you need if you're running traffic to your EverBee Store. And also have the ability for running catalog ads, which is really powerful for any e-commerce brand. It's like with the biggest brands, that's what they do is they run catalog ads. And other than that, I mean, there's so many things we're constantly doing, but I'd say we're in a really good place. We just crossed 1 million users at EverBee, so that's really cool. And we didn't really make that big deal, but I think it is a bigger deal than we think.
Agreed.
And I'm so grateful for this conversation, but also just for everyone spending their time with us.
Agreed. I thank you guys so much. First of all, there are people that I'm seeing in the live chat that have literally been here since like February of 24. So it's just wild to see you guys come back every single week. I really, really hope that the people that I'm bringing on this channel, that you're enjoying the conversations, you're getting something out of them. Again, like I mentioned earlier in the beginning of this, if you do have anything that you want EverBee or Cody directly to answer, feel free to drop in the comments. I will happily Slack him and get that answer for you and pop it back in the Facebook group as well. And I think this is probably going to be the last time that we will talk on this channel this year. We might have you back in December, but we'll let you guys know. But if you guys did enjoy this convo, do not forget, please, to boop the like button on the actual video itself, the actual live stream itself. So this conversation can get out and empower as many e-commerce sellers as possible. Again, I thank you guys so much for being here. I'm super excited to continue working with you guys over the next couple of months to get you ready for Q4, but also to get you ready for an incredible 2026. And we will see you guys next Thursday. See ya.
Thanks, guys.